Welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Wasbout. Let's get to the camp of Kumasi Asante Kotoko because they have announced the departure of 7 players following the mutual termination of their contracts now. And this comes a day after the Porcupine Warriors had released 11 players, including Captain Danlad Ibrahim. Now, Samuel Asamoah, Nana Bin Amwa, Isaac Fuseni, Rocky Dramina, all agreed to part ways with the Ghanaian giant after they just ended campaign. Also leaving the club are Richmond Opoku, Julius Ofori, and Ziggy Shadrach Addo. The former Ghana Premier League champions are undertaking a massive clear-out with 18 players leaving the club following a torrid campaign last season. The Porcupine Warriors finished the season in 6th place, ending the campaign without a trophy. Now, despite the huge number of players leaving, the Reds are already in talks with new players over a potential move in the transfer window. Now, relating to those new players, the club is currently in talks with Prosper Nato Ogum, who is the head coach, says the club needs restructuring, and when it comes to recruitment, it says the club must now focus on signing Premier League tested players.
What we have to do is to reflect on what went on in terms of player recruitment, in terms of player performance, in terms of player discipline. We need to look at all these things, which, of course, we have already done. We've had a series of meetings on this. We need to do a lot of structural changes in the playing body with respect to signing of some players to come to augment. This time, not players from lower divisions, but players who have seen it in the Premier League. These are basically some of the things that we need to also do. We need to actually go out there as early as possible to make sure that the signings that we want or the players that we want, we are able to get them as quickly as possible.
Fred is with Insura FM based in Kumasi, and he's been following this story very closely. He joins me via Zoom to appreciate a bit more what is happening in the camp of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Fifi Manfred, thank you very much for making time with us this evening. Kotoko, 18 players they've parted ways with following what many believe to be a disappointing season for the club. Fifi, just tell me which kind of players are being allowed to leave the club. Can you just give us a little profile of these players, when they joined the club, and are they largely Division 1 players?
Well, thank you very much, Musbao. Kotoko's players that are leaving the club as it stands now are all players that have been at the club for a while now. Some are leaving for various reasons. Some were players that were brought in by Coach Nate Prosper. The likes of players like Nana Bin were brought in by Prosper Nate Ogum himself when he joined last season. Apart from that, also there've also been some players that have been there for a while now, like Captain Danlad Ibrahim, who's also leaving the club. There have been other loads of players that are leaving Kotoko for myriad reasons, like Sheriff, the centre, but that's also leaving for various reasons. If you look at Nana Bin, for one, he joined the club just last season, and then the club says that they are parting ways with him on a mutual basis because they don't see the need for the player, and that's a little bit worrying for players that joined the club less than 24 months ago to be leaving the club on mutual consent is worrying. For some players like Danlad Ibrahim, they are leaving because they couldn't agree with the club on a contract extension. Some people are also on the level of performance. Some players, the coach, and then the technical team believe that they are not on the level of Kotoko. You see, this whole thing about Kotoko and its players is a little bit worrying. It's a bad canker. Almost every season, Kotoko buys players wholesale and lets players go wholesale, which is a very wrong one. So it's a married reasons why these players are leaving Kotoko. But most of them joined just 2 seasons ago, some just a season ago, and of course, some senior players as well.
I mean, Fifi, the changes we understand is not just happening in, at the player level. There's something also happening at the managerial level. We understand, of course, there is an interim management committee in place, and one of the committee members, we understand, has also left the club after he received permission from the King to do so. Just throw more light on it and what is happening at the managerial level, if you are likely to see even more changes at that level also.
Well, like you said, Kotoko's administrative manager, Emmanuel Dasuberi, he was with the old management led by Nane Amponsa. And then, of course, he was also a member of the interim management committee. He was impressed on by the King to stay on and help the interim management committee. He stayed on, and then he has sent in a resignation letter that he wants to stay away from the Kotoko duties that was given to him by the King. Yes, at Kotoko, it's very likely that we are going to see some changes on the managerial level as well. Most likely, we are not going to see Coach Nate Ogum being shown the exit, but we're expected to see that there's a full board that's going to be constituted, a full management team that's going to be constituted. One that's going to be without the coach Nate Ogum. Again, one that's going to be fully and officially without Sudanese coach Akwesi Appiah also on that board. One that's going to run the day-to-day affairs of Kotoko. One that's going to be appointed based on merit and not just people who will be called on to just come and help their club at all. So you know that Sheberi is leaving Kotoko, and definitely there are going to be some more changes. But I can assure you that Coach Nate Ogum, as it stands now, is still going to stay on our Kotoko next season.
Interesting there, but still on Coach Prosper Ogum, he's been talking about recruitment already, and even the club has also been linked with some players. He mentioned that they want to sign Premier League tested players, and it should be done early. What have you been picking relative to the players they want to sign?
Well, Kotoko have had a lot of players on their list as it stands now. So last season, before Ogum joined Kotoko, he was on the verge of joining Samatex. Samatex manager Edmond Aka did confirm to us here in Kumasi just a couple of weeks ago that Ogum actually did their recruitment for them, and he is grateful to Ogum. But I mean, Musbao, if you look at everything that has gone on, the kind of players that Kotoko bought for Ogum, or he came to buy, and then the fact that they are letting most of them go, it isn't a good one at all. And in a properly run corporate environment, a lot of questions should be asked of Ogum. And I think that in his own, when he's alone by himself as well, he will ask questions of himself. That was he able to do due diligence for Kotoko? Something that I disagree if anybody tells me he did. I don't think Ogum did very good due diligence for Kotoko with the kind of recruitment that he did last season. Even in as much as the fact that when he joined the team, it was almost at the time where we're starting the league. I don't think it was good enough. So if the King is giving him the go-ahead, the King is asking him to stay on for another season, and then they are saying that they want to do the recruitment for very early, then that's a very good one. We are hearing some names, some whispers of names from Kotoko. We are hearing some names from Samatex, some names from Legon City, some names also from Bechem United. First of all, is Bechem United central midfielder called Jehu, an excellent central midfielder, won 5 man of the match in the Ghana Premier League last season. One of the very good central midfielders that Kotoko are looking at this as it stands now. And Ogum has said that, like you mentioned earlier, that he wants players that are proven in the Ghana Premier League, and then he wants to get them now. The problem is that Kotoko doesn't seem to have the clout to attract these players. If these players will get a chance to play in Samatex and then play on the African continent and get sold after a season or two, they will rather choose that, especially also when clubs like Samatex have the same financial power, the financial world to do like Kotoko. They can pay players the same amount of money that Kotoko do pay their players. So it's going to be a difficult one for him. He has to do a lot of convincing. He has to convince these players that when he brings them in, they are not going to be shown the exit just a season or two after they join the club, and then he really believes in them, and then he would want to do some good work for them. So it's a long way for Postman to go, and then what he wants to do for Kotoko next season. But I think I start with the fact that he has to ask himself a lot of questions, because the kind of purchases he made last season have not proven to be right at all.
Fifi Manfred, thank you very much. And Fifi Manfred is with Sure FM, based in Kumasi, bringing us inside stories relative to Kumasi Asante Kotoko's player Overhaul. But let's get to Premier League champions camp, FC Samatex, because the assistant coach, Henry Willington, has been speaking, and he has attributed, he says the club is ready to replicate its performance in next season's Ghana Premier League. Samatex were crowned champions of the league after an impressive second stint in the top flight, where they finished 10 points ahead of second place Accra Lions. And speaking after the coronation, Wellington attributed the club's success to early preparation and believes they can retain the title with same strategy.
It wasn't easy when we started about 3 seasons ago. When we came in straight, we qualified to the Ghana Premier League. And the next season, we have to manage and place 10th position. And the third season, we had this achievement. It's by the grace of God. But I must say it's hard work, and it pays for us. Because where we started early, the preseason at Ekropon. When most of the club haven't started, we started our preseason, and that helped us a lot.
I mean, Coach, what is that? What do you tell the boys in training? Because clearly there's something that is going on in training that we are seeing on the field. Quality football, I mean, some discipline in there, and this is a club only in its second season, and already I'm sure the traditional clubs are beginning to feel concerned that maybe Summertex is coming to take over.
You know, every week, our weekly program for training, the training schedule for every week is competitive because everybody wants to be among the winning team. And I must say, it helps us because, let me tell you, we put we put the discipline aspect of it. That is the thing that helps us a lot. And I must say, even we don't know if you are the captain of them, if you misbehaved, we have to put you aside and another person will play. Although we have about 20 to 22 players who used to rotate every week, but we have to be disciplined, and all the players were disciplined. I must tell you, they were disciplined throughout the season.
I mean, Coach, you have followed the Ghana Premier League very closely, and over the years we've seen how Kotoko, Sediana, Mediama have dominated. What do you think is happening in the Ghana Premier League? Are we seeing a certain, shift in terms of, dominance in the Ghana Premier League?
You see, about how many seasons ago, Edwana became the champion. Brekun Chelsea also came and became a champions, and Mediaman, then it's Samates. So I must say next season can be Accra Lions or any other team. But I must tell you, if this is how the boys we are going to play every year, the next season we are going to win the league again.
Let's just stay in Germany because Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, we understand he's been linked to a club, not Manchester, not named Manchester United. It's trying to move away from Manchester United. But I mean, what more can you tell us on that and other transfers happening in the Bundesliga?
Yeah, Juventus have entered the race. They took note of Jadon Sancho's reduction in asking price from Manchester United. I think Sancho's camp made it very clear, doesn't matter who the coach is, he doesn't go back. And I think there's a mutual feeling considering they didn't make a change at Manchester United. So I think a change is good. Dortmund have been watching their financial reach. They say that they cannot make every decision they would like in terms of retaining talented players. It costs a lot of money, like Jadon Sancho. So I think him coming off the back of the way he looked in the Champions League competition kind of restarted his career. It's his second chance. I think Juventus would be a great opportunity for Sancho. And I wish him well if that does materialize. There are some other rumors out there. Matthias de Ligt was on the auction block, according to Vincent Kompany, Bayern Munich's new coach. Manchester United seems to be an admirer of de Ligt, out of the coincidence, Erik ten Hag, the coach that doesn't like Jadon Sancho, seems to like Bayern's de Ligt. And the demanding cost right now from Bayern Munich seems to be around 50 million euros for the defender, and he wasn't happy. It seems like to be a win-win situation because Bayern could pick up a bit of cash and maybe make a different move. They've already moved to extend the contract of a young midfielder, Alexander Pavlovich, until 2029. So this goes to show this young man was selected to be part of the Euros, but he got sick, so he had to miss out. He made his debut for Germany's first team this past season. Only 20 years old. You know, they have Jamal Musiala, another young talent. Is just showing that Bayern are definitely keeping the young talent active in their kits. And I wish him well. Hopefully he gets well soon also.
Chris, thanks very much for that. That's Chris Arrington with DWTV joining us all the way from Berlin, Germany. And so on that note, that we draw the curtains on tonight's edition of Prime Sports with me, Razak Wasbar. We've got more stories for you on myjoyonline.com. Please do have a wonderful evening.